Alright, so we're gonna begin with this new edition of Fakemon. I guess this is gonna be a series now, I suppose. So in the last one, there was a couple things that I forgot to mention, like in the Gold and Silver unreleased Pokemon. I forgot to mention that that's not supposed to be a fourth legendary beast, or it's not supposed to be a different variety of Celebi. It's just supposed to be Leafeon. And then get to mention that. And also, I found out in the previous Fakemon thing, the one where it has like the red Pokeball in the corner, that belongs to Mage's Pages, and the guy, I want to say Rippy Dippy, isn't it Dustin Rippy? Decided to promote the tags thing, and there's like, you know, his girlfriend that designed that certain Pokemon, and you know, designed Pokemon for what you call it. But I shouldn't waste that much time because there's like a whole bunch of Pokemon that I have to introduce today. So there's over 1,600 Pokemon that I have to go through, so you best believe there's gonna be multiple parts. So I apologize if it turns out to be more than an hour. So here we go. So there is 15 generations worth made from this person right here. His name is DarkandWindie. So yeah, he has like different varieties where it says starter Pokemon and legendary Pokemon that is in his Fakemon wiki page. He also has a DeviantArt as well. So we're gonna get started with this Pokemon right here. His name is Cupchew. So this region, I believe, it is called the Zanayo region. I talked to him on Twitter. I didn't realize I could just scroll down and just see what regions are available, because I asked him about that. But he gave me some good details about this. So Kaboo is a bamboo panda Pokemon. It's interesting that there's like always, like there's the EU koala, and it's kind of a similar name to Cupchew. This was probably made first, honestly, because he said he's been making this for like 5.5 years or so. Well, I guess Generation 5 was before that. But this is the evolution right here. His name is Ninja, so he's a panda ninja, which is where I'm starting to see where this is going. I tried to just skim the page when I first saw it. I didn't want to really settle down and let this sink into my mind, but I'm really starting to like this already. It's Ninja Panda, that's pretty cool. And then we got the final evolution, Pendulin, or Pendulin. He has a goatee, and he also has like some whiskers right there, kind of like a Mienshao. So got a 5th gen vibe about this, and it's actually has a lot of potential for starter Pokemon that people would choose, because people tend to avoid grass type Pokemon, you know. So I'm gonna get my full opinion on this after like the starters introduced. So this is the grass starter, and this is the fire starter. This one right here, Zizaber, or Zizaber. I'm gonna mispronounce most of these Pokemon, I hope you know. But it has kind of a mohawk going throughout his spine. It has like what you want to call it? I guess it's just the mane that goes all the way. It has saber-toothed teeth, spotted and striped on the bottom, and it also has like a cheetah-like face, and black eyes and red pupils. And the next Pokemon is called Sabern, or Saburn, I should say. That's probably the correct pronunciation. A lot bigger. I kind of have like a T-Rex vibe about it too. I'm gonna see the difference again between the first one. Hang on. So it's pretty much just a bigger version of that. It has kind of a darker color to it. I'm really looking forward to see the final evolution though. I'm gonna try not to sneak peek it. This one's called Blaze Saber, and it's completely different. It's red. It doesn't have his main from the beginning of his head all the way through his tail, but starting from the back of his neck throughout towards the tip of his tail. and his stripes also mesh with the mane. Should I even call it a mane anymore? It's kind of I think it's supposed to be smoke of some kind, because the first one's just fire, right? So his stripes carry on with the mane on the background. It's completely red. It doesn't have the spotted parts about it. So let's go see the water type starter. Now this one right here, this one has a whole bunch of potential for a water starter, and it is called Platike. It's a platypus Pokemon. Guarantee if this was a thing that a lot of people would just call this thing Perry, you know, from Phineas and Ferb. So let's see the evolution. It is Platypund. I have a water fighting feel about it, but it has like some type of ice peck on his middle of his chest, just like Iron Man. So it might just be water ice. His tail kind of looks like an ice ramp, which is interesting. So here's the final starter of the water Pokemon. Yep, it's water ice. So Platige, I think that's what it's called. I swear, I'm just gonna keep on mispronouncing these. I also have like a Mr. Penguin vibe, or what's his name? It's just the Penguin, actually, from Batman. It has like a purple hat and it has like the gauntlets, almost like Thanos. I almost get like an Empoleon feel about it. So out of all the starters, if they were a thing, I would definitely pick the water Pokemon, the Platypus, most definitely. The second, I would pick the Cupcoo. The final one, I would pick the fire one last, only because like that one, I don't know, like it's cool with the whole stripe thing, but it's like it's just the other ones kind of outmatch it, because we got a Ninja Panda right here, and then we got the Platypus. Yeah, I would pick the water starter. So pretty much the way I rate these is like if I could see them becoming a Pokemon. That's usually what I keep on saying, because most of the designs I already automatically like, and it's definitely the case right here. So the grass type Pokemon definitely, like all the stages could be a actual Pokemon, and all the water type Pokemon could be a Pokemon. However, I don't think the fire type Pokemon could be a thing, like all three stages. So this one right here is called Zuckerode. I have to figure out the type, but I'm assuming it's the normal type. It's like the Rattata of the route. So I believe it's like some kind of guinea pig mixed with a regular pig, I think. So this is Rokuzin, the evolution. So I guess it turns into a beaver, hamster mixture. These two I could definitely see as a Pokemon. Kind of like a Bibarel almost in a way. So I kind of wonder if it stays. Oh no, it does say. It says the types right on the top, dude. It says normal and ground type. So is a normal ground type at first already? Yeah, let me look at these other ones. Oh, it turns out that the Pandolin is grass fighting type. I didn't even see it. Turns out that the fire starter is also, if starts as a fire type, then it turns into a fire dark type. I should really learn how to read. And then yeah, it's water type, and then a water ice type. Well, it says ice water type, but you know, same difference. Yeah, this is normal type, and it turns into a normal ground type. So it's not only is it like a Bibarel, but it's almost like a Diggersby, you know. So this is the next Pokemon, is Bloom. It is grass type Pokemon. I actually like this Pokemon a lot. It's like a better version of Sunkern, if anything. And evolves into Blisseynia. Both of these also I can see as a Pokemon. See, I feel like so far DarkandWindie really gets it right on the money with what looks like a Pokemon. Because that's what I noticed on the other From Ages pages, is they look a bit too realistic. Well, they have realistic features is what I mean. Yeah, so this could also be a Pokemon as well. It says Grass Fairy type, which is interesting. what I noticed is that he releases Pokemon at a certain date, so clearly they made this after 6th gen, you know, when they introduced the fairy type. So this is the bug type of the thing. This is called a glider. It almost looks like he has like Squirtle sunglasses on his wings. It's it almost looks like Ninjask mixed with the spider. I'm not that good at my bugs, so I don't really know what exactly it is. I'm assuming those are wings though. It evolves into, and it is just bug type by the way. So, yeah, okay, it is a spider. It is called Aeronid. Still bug type. Yeah, so I guess the first thing is just like a shell of some kind. But this one becomes like a full, like it's a part of him. I really like this thing a lot. It's pretty badass. It beats Ariados, which is interesting because Ariados, like they were meant to give him a face, but he ended up not having a face in his. Oh, there's a word for it. I forgot what it's called. His like cervix, I think that's what it's called. Like, you know, his torso area. Or no, oh wait, what is it called? I think it is cervix. But you know what I mean. The next Pokemon, it is Mamage. It is dark type. So Mamage evolves into Bajange, at least I think that's how it's pronounced. Dark type Pokemon. So it almost looks like a mongoose in a way. Evolves into almost like a bear-like mongoose. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Like so far, besides the fire starters, I haven't seen one that doesn't look like a Pokemon. So that's really good. For these, if I were to see them throughout the route, of course I'm not going to catch like the normal ground type right here. I might consider the grass type how well it is, but who knows, it might be having like Hoppit stats. And the spider one's really cool. For this one, I wouldn't have it in my party, but I could see it definitely being like a very legitimate Pokemon. It almost reminds me as a Pancham and you know, in its evolution. This one right here, I'm kind of curious about because it's almost like a Larvitar. It's Coruzite, and it has 3 evolutions, and it is a rock type Pokemon, which Larvitar is a rock ground type. For some reason I always thought it was just rock type and it gains the dark type, but no, it's rock ground. Even Pupitar is rock ground. And then Tyranitar is rock dark, so you know there is that. But it no longer looks like Larvitar after this, or at least it, you know, it turns into this thing right here. So it turns into Mortyrock. It is still a rock type Pokemon. I almost feel like maybe it's because it's the coloration of the diamonds, but I just want to throw in Fairy too. Maybe it's because I'm thinking Diancie all the time. And then we got the final evolution, Cragmodon. For this full stage, obviously I could definitely see Pupitar, or Larvitar I should say, over here in the anime, and definitely this one too. The final evolution, however, I kind of don't see it happening, but I do think that the first 2 stages are definitely solid. Get it? Solid? Alright. Iftini, the grass type Pokemon. His eyes are kind of unique, and it has like this, you know, the stripes. It's kind of like a salamander Pokemon. Kind of reminds me of Rapunzel's pet, you know. It evolves into Sereft. Is also still grass type. And it has one more final evolution, you know. Kind of has an interesting coloration to it, and his eyes are still like that. Looks like a much bigger lizard. But yeah, the final evolution, Tefren, looks completely different. It has like his tail either has like flowers, or I'm assuming they're, you know, plant-like instead of spike-like, you know, like, because I'm thinking like a dinosaur. It has almost like a canyon hill on top of his back, and it's supposed to represent like a grassy meadow with the hill on top. So the first two stages, again, I could see them. The final stage, not exactly. I don't really see it being a thing. The next Pokemon, I could swear... What? This one says Koala. Wait. We already had it. We have a similar name to this. This one looks like a chessman. It's really, really adorable. Its ears are on the side of his head, so it could definitely hear well. It will hear you. But yeah, it looks like a chessman. I think this one's better than a chessman, really. But yeah, it's grass normal type, which is ironic because that means that eventually chessman will beat this thing because it's, you know, it'll turn into a fighting type. But then it'll evolve into this thing right here, Koala, and then it turns into grass fighting type. Whoa, that's pretty interesting. It's grass normal to grass fighting. And if I'm being honest, I think these two are better than all three stages of the Koala line. A lot of people really like the Koala that I showed right here, so I like these two better, and they could definitely be Pokemon. And they're much better than the Chespin line. I mean, Chestnut's kind of dope. I never used them yet, so yeah. I almost get like a Breloom feel to it too, so there's that. There's this thing. This one looks really adorable. It's Blitzat. It is a flying electric type. It's really, really cool. I would call it Rogue the Bat. Except I already called the Pokemon Rogue before, so I don't really know. Here's the evolution. Thundat. Thunderbat. Still electric flying type. The first stage, definitely. Maybe the colors are a little bit too neon for Pokemon. Neon. I don't think that's the right word for it. Because for some reason I don't think Pokemon has this much of bright colors in their Pokemon, but I could definitely still see it. The evolution, I don't really see it being a thing, and it still competes with Woobat and Swoobat. I honestly think they're better than those two, because like Woobat is terribly designed. It's literally a fuzzball with wings. I mean, come on, it's pretty easy. In the 5th generation, no less. So this beats it by about 4 miles, you know, specifically 4 miles. The next Pokemon we got here is Sporish, or I think of Orish. It is Poison Psychic type, which is interesting. I'm not really sure what it is, because at first glance I thought it was a mushroom, or it might be. But really interesting design here. I really kind of like how, I don't know, I like the yellow stars, you know, like the knockout stars on its helmet. I'm pretty sure I'll know what it actually is with the evolution. Okay, never mind, I don't know. So it was a helmet. I thought it was a mushroom, but no. Yeah, it's an interesting character. It has like puff gas for hands, and did he have legs before? Hang on. Did you have legs? No, you were just. Well, you kind of had legs. You kind of have little feet here. These two I can still see as Pokemon though, and I can see it as potential other characters for all kinds of series. Like, on top of my head, I'm thinking Sonic the Hedgehog. I could see it being there for some reason. And even Mario, he would be next to Jinzo somewhere, where Jinzo belongs back into the frame if it wasn't for, you know, I mean, they should just let Jinzo in Super Smash Brothers. This is probably, if this was ever a thing, that's probably something I would name it, you know, to be honest. And we got the next Pokemon, Kamopper. It's as far as I could see, there's the only evolution is bug type. Grasshopper could usually fly, but you know, I guess it makes sense that, like, you know, you don't really think immediately like, oh, Grasshopper, this thing could fly. You know, it's kind of a forgotten thing. Either way, there was another grasshopper Pokemon that I introduced before, and I said that it was a little bit too realistic. Or not realistic, like its eyes kind of didn't work. This one, however, does. The only thing though, I think this was intentional. Like the face looks like a bunny, you know, Kamopper, so it hops around, which is clever, and it also has a lot of camo on there. But this one's, I don't think Pokemon would do this, but they should do this. Does that make sense? Cause like, even though I say, oh, this wouldn't be in Pokemon, like I feel like this would, but they wouldn't get the camo part out, and maybe the bunny face as well. But I feel like they should put it in Pokemon if they were to. Like, let's assume that with all these Fakemon, like, if they were up and running to become the next Pokemon, if we were to pitch this idea and present them like, hey, you should take this. I feel like they wouldn't, but they should. You know what I'm trying to say? So, let's go with this Pokemon right here. This is Tweetum. The first thought in my head, I'm thinking like this kind of looks similar to the oh, what are their names? The birds that dance. Oricorio? Is that what it is? That's what I think of. It's like the missing Oricorio. He just decides not to dance. He's, you know, like, you know what? Like, you guys have to understand, I don't have legs, so I'm just gonna be over here, okay? So that's what I'm thinking, because there's like the cheerleader, just like, oh, give me a T, give me a W, give me a E, give me another E, give me a T, give me a U, give me an M. What does that spell? It's just like, I'm out. Anyway, Tweetum's pretty cool. I think, does it have an evolution? Is this the evolution? Yeah, it does have an evolution. Okay. I think this is a hummingbird, right? Is that what it's supposed to be? It's hard to tell what a hummingbird is when you see the complete wings, because I'm so used to seeing them like going 100 miles per hour. Here's Darlum. Still normal flying type. It looks completely different. It looks like it's going closer and closer to being a grass type. I'm saying that because of the green, but it is a nice use of fade on the bottom, and it's more likely on the actual wings themselves on the other side, because I could kind of see fading over here. So here's the other evolution, Humidar, which is like a hawk. So another normal flying type. It has a target on its stomach for some reason. So I like the first evolution. These two other ones I'm not that much of a fan of, because I don't know. But to be fair, these two, the first two Pokemon could be Pokemon. But they're a bit separate, I feel. They'll be separate Pokemon. Even though they have the similar beaks, they look too vastly different to be related. But the final evolution, I don't see it. So here we have a bug type Pokemon. Is Bloaty. Another one that I remember, there was like another blow type Pokemon. I think that's what it was called. It's the only evolution Pokemon, I believe. Bug type. And yeah, would this be a thing? I want to say no, because I don't really know. If anything, they could just put this before the spider Pokemon that they had before, and it would work, you know. Even though they're like completely different bug species, they were already different color. You could still have red and turn into a blue Pokemon, turn into another blue Pokemon. As long as people know it's supposed to be a spider slash, you know, a blood-sucking bug, then that's fine. Because there's several Pokemon that are different color that evolves into something else, you know, like Vulpix and Ninetales, for example, but you can still tell that they're related. So here's this one, is Damseg. For this one, it turns out that there's 3 Pokemon. It is a bug type Pokemon. So is this supposed to be like Amber? I'm assuming. It's cool that it's asleep, but I feel like assuming that there was Pokemon that were breeding, like the evolution line, right? And it would hatch, it would still be sleeping throughout its first stage until it awakes. I feel like the description will say something very unique. Okay, so the evolution is Lamzul. I want to say it's a dragonfly, but not really. It doesn't have wings, so it can't be a dragonfly, and it can't just be dragon. But it does say dragon bug type, which is interesting, because the first stage says just bug type. So yeah, dragon bug type. So it's somewhat of a dragon Pokemon, or what should I say? I was gonna say dragonfly. See, the thing is, I feel like these two are reversed. I feel like this would be second, and then this would be first. So this would be first stage, and then this would be second stage. But what is the final evolution? So now it gains wings and is a dragon bug type still, and it has like a hammer in the back of its tail. Celefly. I mean, there's plenty of evolutions where there's like Caterpie evolves into Metapod and evolves into Butterfree, you know, stuff like that. That the middle evolution doesn't really look like either of the two. Or a better example, you know, there's like a Wurmple evolving into a Beautifly. If you put like Silcoon or Cascoon, it would look a bit too different. So that's why I feel like they should have he should have put like the, I mean, it's fine regardless. Do I see these as a Pokemon? I would say this one, the first stage. The other two, possibly not. As a concept, I would say I find this one the most interesting. That we would try to, that they would try to work something with this, and it would have like potential if there, you know, if it was in the anime. Like, for some reason I get the vibe it's a psychic type. Maybe it's because I'm thinking Reuniclus or some kind. I'm not really sure. So this Pokemon right here, Fubei, I actually like this thing. It's a water ghost type. At first glance I didn't think it was a ghost, but I was thinking it was like a, what would I want to say? It looks kind of like some type of reptile. I was thinking, I think. Fubei, does it have an evolution? It looks like it doesn't. I actually like this thing a lot. It could be definitely a Pokemon. It's really cool. I like it. So we got Stiltrain, and it has another evolution. It is a water bug type. So there's a lot more emphasis on bug type Pokemon, I noticed. And this one right here, it kind of reminds me of like a Chow Zero, or what's his name? I think that's what his name, or Chaos Chow, something like that. It's been a while since I played Sonic. It's like the second Sonic reference I made. The evolution is right here. Skisek. It almost looked like a horse mixed with a spider, mixed with like those striders. Water bug type. The first evolution, the first stage I should say is I don't see it being a Pokemon. This one closer, but not quite. As a concept, I'm not sure. I don't know if it would work, and if it's used, it would have like probably sticky webs and stuff like that. It would be pretty much like Araquanid. That's probably what I'm thinking. These next Pokemon, there's Alpacot. It is a grass water type. Ooh, that's interesting. It's like a sheepdog. Oh, that's probably the joke. Oh, I feel. Oh, I'm getting it. See, these ones, these Pokemon are too clever for me, I swear. Interesting concept. I don't know if it would be a water type Pokemon though. And we got the evolution right here. You could definitely see the dog features of it. Alpha King. It has more of a grassy base on his forelegs, and has like a leaf for a tail, and like a, what do you even call that? Like just a row of leaves, I suppose, and then the ears. I like the concept. The concept is really clever. The water type I don't really see. I feel like he would just be grass normal type, or maybe like a, if anything, a grass ground type maybe. Grass water type, I feel like they were to have, if you were to still stick with the water type thing, there has to be a huge emphasis on the water feature, because, you know, obviously he's water type because, like, you know, they have like the sweaty tongue or whatever you want to call it. You know, when dogs tend to do that, I kind of do that with my own water Pokemon that I feature with, like, you know, the puddle, the Pupdle, where he's a water dog and he's also done the tongue thing. So there's that. But yeah, the concept is really interesting and clever. So I like that. So there's Gerblitz. It is an electric type. It's almost like a. This actually reminds me of that Pokemon for Uranium, except it's like a chipmunk, or maybe this one's a chipmunk too, but it looks similar to it. But the colors are more vibrant. Definitely looks like a Thunder Punch Pokemon. It looks like it's its own Pokemon, but would it be a Pokemon? Yeah, a bit too bright again, but, you know, maybe, you know, in my head, there's not many bright Pokemon that stands out in my head. This probably is a whole bunch of them that I'm not even thinking of, but I could see it. Definitely. I feel like it does need an evolution though, because there's like a lot of electric rodent Pokemon that doesn't have evolutions or even mega evolutions, like Puzzle Mine and Pachirisu, Dedenne, all those. Emolga. So we got this one, Ichan. It is a psychic type. This one has a ginormous nose and is yawning. So that's part of the gimmick since it's Ichan. First glance, I thought it was a Quagsire up until I saw the nose. Then I'm all like, yeah, never mind. Poiple colors. It reminds me of a Poiple at least. Except not really, just the coloration, the color scheme really. And we also got this one, Zeon. 2 tails, and it has kind of web feet, and it's just psychic type. I mean, it could be psychic water type. The first evolution, really not for me, but the second evolution really makes up for it. It looks pretty good. Especially the web feet, and it has like the top skull, kind of almost like a Rampardos, and it has a green mouth and green tongue. So I find this one cool. This one would be a Pokemon, but the first stage not exactly. So this Pokemon, in the preview, it looks pretty cool. So this one's Krukoin, which is pretty cool. I actually like this as a concept. It has like sense in his mind, or his mind. Normal dark type. I don't feel like it should be normal dark type. I feel like it should be dark steel. But, you know, if normal type works, then sure. I want to see his evolution, and it is Racoin. Has $ in there. So, oh, it's a raccoon. Oh, wait, let me look at the first evolution again. It's not obvious that this one looks like a raccoon, but it looks like that's what it's going for on this one. Or maybe it's a weasel, I'm not really sure yet. It has ears, and I really like the bag. on there. So this one's actually pretty cool. The concept is brilliant, if anything. But yeah, it's a raccoon, and it evolves into Thievoin. So I don't know if it's still, you know, like a raccoon or a kangaroo, or I'm not really sure what animal it is. But from cents to dollar signs to a diamond, if there was a different symbol, what would it be? It'd probably be like, I guess diamonds work. I would put like a different type of diamond, like this type, instead of the, you know, the diamonds from like spades and hearts and stuff. But it still has a cool concept. The second one's my favorite. The first one works. I thought it was just supposed to be like a little minion type of thing, which it probably is, but like I didn't know it was animalesque. Like I was thinking when I saw this was like a different variation of Sableye. Not saying that like, oh, this is the alternate Sableye, but I'm just saying that it was how should I say, like Sableye is kind of human-esque, and you know, like Mr. Mime kind of. It's not important. Either way, Alexis, that's a concept. I'd be surprised if Pokemon put this. If anything, they would put yen or Pokebucks or whatever it is. But yeah, I like this as a concept. It's really, really cool. Here's Wormound, where it's a bug ground type. Exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I said in the other video. I'm all like, they made the worm bug steel. I'm like, it should be bug ground. it's a earthworm. I mean, so they got this part right. Wormound. For the mound part, I don't really know. I feel like I kind of just prefer the worm by itself. But you know, if it works, it works. Because there's also the Wormadam. You know, there's that variation. So maybe when he was thinking Wormadam, he's all like, well, I could have a better Wormadam that's more literal or something. But here's the evolution. Oh, now it's Bug Steel. Okay, well, shit. I mean, at least this one's, I mean, well, the other one is also mostly steel, but it has spikes around his neck and his tail and in his midsection. I mean, at least it was bug ground, right? I mean, you know, I wasn't completely just saying that. Either way, we got our next Pokemon right here, Babara. It is just a water type. Not completely obvious as a water type, except for the fins. Here's the evolution. So it has more fins to it, and it has the tail. It has bug teeth, so I think I mean, it looks like a beaver. It's not completely obvious to me, at least. Again, besides the fins, you know, there's that. Would Pokemon put this? Probably just this one, I feel. So here's Nature. It is a walnut, I think, grass flying type. So these are wings. And then here's the evolution of it. It is Wingor. I guess if you break it down, you know, you would say that it's a grass flying type. And I could also say, you know, it's fair to say for the evolutions, like what I was saying about that is with Vulpix and Ninetales, there's also fair to say that certain type of Pokemon doesn't always have to be exclusively that color, you know. So yeah, again, Ninetales is yellow and he's a fire type, so yeah, interesting concept. Here's Lirup. It's a dark electric type with very stripy eyes and a whole bunch of zigzags, and it evolves into this thing, Howlurk, another dark electric type. This one reminds me of Manectric and Mightyena combined. The first evolution may not be Pokemon-esque, but it It also does look like a Poochyena to me. It looks very arcadey to me. This one I could see as a Pokemon though. Smokeoff. Fighting Ghost. This one's a fighting ghost type, so this one's also not that obvious to me. I'm kind of interested to see what the evolution may look like. I'm assuming, because I'm not looking at it at the moment, I kind of turned off the preview at the moment. I'm assuming it has fists and more of a body or something. So Smokeoff. Oh, it has 4 legs. Well, at least his fists are huge, right? So there's the fighting ghost type. So there's another thing about DarkandWindie. He does commission people, and I do see that he commissioned it to a person. I think that's what it says at least. So if you wanted a Fakemon to be made, you could always ask him, and he'll tell you how much, you know. So here's Nibbid, poison dark type, so it's kind of like a Salazzle in a way. It almost reminds me of a Kremling. Oh, I didn't even mention about the Smokeoff thing. Yeah, it's not 100% obvious that they're ghost fighting type. The first evolution, however, I could kind of see it being a Pokemon. It looks like a Rotom almost. I would say make it a ghost flying type, because you know, since it's smoke, and you know, technically if you break it down, smoke is toxic, so it's poison, but I'm thinking more like along the lines of smoke cloud, and clouds are in the sky, so it'd be a flying type, because flying types aren't just exclusively birds. They could also be something pertaining to just the wind, you know, like Tornadus. Not the Therian form though, I'm talking about just Tornadus. It's like the only flying type there is, like the primary flying. Anyway, I was saying about Nibbid. It kind of reminds me of a Kremling from Donkey Kong, which is cool. The green part kind of comes off his body, and then there's the mixed match of colors. Poison dark type, definitely for an evil team organization to overuse, of course. Chimodo, this one's cool. I like this one. It is still poison dark type. It stands up in his feet and has like white skull orbs throughout his body. And then it evolves into this. This one I also think is cool. And I really like the patterns along the arms right here, the legs I should say. Really, really cool concept. There's also like the red scales that comes off. Yeah, this one's cool. Would they use them as in Pokemon? The first 2 stages, yeah. The final evolution, don't think so. But like I said, I like these 3 Pokemon, definitely, without a doubt. So you kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to say when I'm critiquing this. Because if we're making Fakemon and you were to tell this to Pokemon, it's like, hey, this is my inspiration to give to you or whatever, then see if they would use it or not, you know. Then again, there's other Pokemon that are kind of questionable on why they're on there, so maybe I shouldn't critique it that way. Oh, I didn't even notice that he has like a red nails now. Oh man. Either way, there's Liskid. Kind of looks like a pterodactyl in a way, and it almost has like a shark fin on his head. It is just grass type. Did not expect that. I thought that was gonna. Well, I admit, yeah, I guess it is grass type. I was gonna say this would be the grass water type, but you know, who knows? I might just be saying that. Interesting color choice. I like the color choice, if anything. King. Okay, now it's definitely obvious it's a grass type. Almost like a Superior and a Gyarados mixed together with the Tyrantrum crown on his head. The black leaves are an interesting choice. As Pokemon, this it's on the border. If anything, it's closer to not being a real Pokemon, but it could be. The final evolution, probably not. This looks something that could be Beyblade again, or maybe a Yu-Gi-Oh monster. It's not to say it's a bad concept, but it was actually a pretty good concept. It's like a Lizard King